Welcome back to Max Out, everybody. I got him right there. That's Goggins, everyone. #1 requested guest, you don't know this, for my show the last 2 years is you.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Honored.
And I got to tell you, the best, by far, off-camera conversation I have ever had is what we've been having. I think you would agree. It's been good for you,
100%.
too. It's been good for both of us.
It's been real good.
And hopefully that'll transition over to the show itself. But this is a gentleman who completed Navy SEAL training, Army Ranger training, Air Force TAC-P training. I believe he's the only person in history to do that.
Yes, sir.
This is a guy who did 3 Hell Weeks, 60-plus ultra marathons, ran with broken bones for 30 miles to get into one of the mega ultra marathons. And a lot of people call him the toughest man alive, but I'm excited because I get to call him my friend now. I've enjoyed this conversation so much, and I think you guys are going to join the on-camera one. So this is Goggins, everybody.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if I call you David Goggins.
Yeah, it's fine, man. David Goggins is fine. Goggins, David, just don't call me Dave.
Okay. Well, you're Goggins now, but you grew up David Goggins.
Right.
And most people know this about your upbringing because I want to get into the stuff. But I was fascinated before I met you, like, what makes this? Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are the circumstances, the conditions, the thinking that turns somebody into you, right? And so start a little bit with like how you grew up, because I think that's part of the story.
Well, my dad, so I grew up in Buffalo, New York. My dad really helped create this. I'm not giving him credit.
Yeah. Like,
oh, he was a great dad, like clap my hands for his ass. He helped create this because he was just that, he was a devil. You know, he was a guy that had to be very insecure, very beat down. Something had to happen to him when he was younger, because the way he treated me, my brother, my mom was just horrible. So he would beat us, my mom, my brother, me. And I'm not talking about like, oh, you got in trouble, so let me give you a whipping. When he was a drunk. Okay. So whenever he woke up, man, he woke up drinking, went to bed drinking. And that's just how it was. And when he get drunk, he just got violent. So my mom caught my dad cheating. We got home about 4 o'clock in the morning. So I'm about 7, 8 years old, and I hear some ruckus outside my room as I'm getting ready to bed down for the night. And my mom and dad are outside my room because there's a staircase right there. And my dad is smacking the hell out of my mom and knocks her almost unconscious, where she's kind of out of it. You know, she's kind of loopy. She falls down, he grabs her by her hair and drags her down the stairs by her hair. And so at this age, I'm sitting thinking, man, you know, what the fuck should I do, man? Like, you know, I'm scared, but then something in me saying, you gotta go and do something. Oh my gosh. But I'm scared to death of this guy because he's been beating the shit out of me since I can remember. And I mean, like, laying me out for nothing. And I'm sitting thinking, man, okay, man, like, what am I gonna do? So my brother, he and I were very different. When my brother would see the fighting, he would go to this room and hide. Yeah. I didn't do that. I always stuck around. So this time I stuck around and I decided to help her out. So I go on the stairs and I jump on his back, and literally he tells my mom, "You're raising a gangster," as she's like on the floor. And he's almost smiling, almost like proud, but that smile went to a frown pretty quick, and he beat the living hell out of me. And he beat me literally from my neck down to my ankles, like black and blue. So the next morning, I was gonna go to school half the day. My mom woke up and she pulled the covers back, and what she saw was how bruised I was. And so when she pulled the covers back and saw how bruised I was, I'll never forget looking at her face, because she used to write letters for me, you know, for me and my brother to miss PE because we were so bruised up from getting beaten. So, you know, hey, he's sick or whatever. And so, you know, she was lying a lot for my dad. So this particular day, she didn't write a letter. But when I laid in the bed and looked up at my mom, and she pulled the covers back, I'll never forget looking at her face. And her face is tattooed in my brain. And why I say that, this past year, I got the VFW award for Americanism Award. And if you Google David Goggins VFW Award, I'm in front of 5,000 veterans. And I'm getting this amazing award. John McCain got it. And I'm up here thinking, man, I'm up here getting this award. This is amazing. It's for giving back and also having a great military career. And I could give this 6-minute long speech. And I'm up there, man, I'm talking, and I'm thanking people who helped me out. And I get to my mom, she's sitting back, you know, she's sitting right here on stage, but behind me. And I haven't cried in 30 years.
I can't even picture it.
Haven't cried in 30 years. I just don't do that. And I turn around and say, and I want to thank my mom for not picking me up when I was knocked down, but teaching me how to get up. Because she never picked me up ever. And because her circumstances sucked.
Yeah.
So anyway, I look back and I said that, and when I got done, I didn't even get a chance to say it. I looked at her eyes, and my head went right back to her face when she saw me bruised up. And that fucked me up. And for 58 seconds, look at the video, and you'll see me, my head's down, and I'm sobbing.
Wow.
And I'm in front of 5,000 vets, and the guy who was hosting the thing had to come up to me and like put his hand on my back. And I was just destroyed, overcome with emotion. And then 58 seconds go by, and I get up and I deliver this speech. And so I tell you that because my life tattooed me. And so when I came from Buffalo, I was 8 years old. I didn't have one learning disability, I had several. But I hid all this shit. I never talked about my dad being crazy, or I couldn't read, I couldn't write. I got held back in my second grade. So now we moved. My mom now finds the courage to move to this small town called Brazil, Indiana.
Was that beating the catalyst that made you leave?
That was the catalyst.
And that's probably why you flash back to that second.
Right.
Okay, I got you.
So basically that next morning, so this is what happened. That beating happened, and maybe 2 days later, my mom's in the living room while my dad's in the kitchen talking to one of his girls. My mom walks in the kitchen with me and my brother sitting in our, standard locations at the table. My dad at the head of the table, me and my brother at the side of the table, and there's a phone behind my dad. He always talked on the phone, smoking a cigarette, drinking his scotch. And he's talking to one of his girls on the phone. And my mom walks in, and this is where she was at mentally. She walked in, looked at me and my brother, and she said, "You guys can come or you guys can stay, but I'm getting the fuck out of here."
Oh, God.
And so she was broke. She was just broken. And I got my shit and I packed. I was gone quick. My brother was kind of like, what should I do? So, long story short, he ends up coming with us to Brazil, Indiana, but he didn't want to come. We had car trouble. It's all in the book. He had car trouble. All kind of shit happened, but we finally get to Brazil, Indiana.
Let me jump in real quick. First off, when he says the book, everybody, I've read a lot of books. My favorite thing about you, obviously, there's this things we're going to get into in a little bit here that are just remarkable about you, that you've achieved. Actually, I don't think are remarkable about you. I think you found remarkable spaces in your own mind that other people could also find.
Right.
But I think it's remarkable you found them given these circumstances.
Well said.
But the book that he's referring to, guys, is Can't Hurt Me. And when you read this book, everybody, I'm telling you, these stories like he's telling them now, they jump. Like, I read the whole book in one day.
Wow.
And the reason is because I was so fascinated with you in the first place. But I think it's almost like a documentary into what can build somebody like you. But for me, people that are listening to this, especially you young people that are listening to it, and I know some of the language is strong, but I just want y'all to understand something. No matter what you're going through right now, whether you're 7 years old or 77 years old, those things don't define you. This man, what you're about to hear, is incredible what he's turned himself into, from a dad who was in those conditions to, I think your mom was great, right? But you've sort of said mom wasn't ever again completely herself after those situations, right? Then he goes into school, has a learning disability, he's behind because he wasn't going to school. Kind of starts just lying and cheating to get his way through school. Stuttered bad. Like this.
My elementary years, I stuttered so bad. I had these white splotches all over my skin. I had patches of hair falling out of my head.
Out of stress?
Stressed. I was so stressed out from my childhood, and then now I'm in this situation where I'm like, God, man, I'm dumb. I'm not smart, and now I'm like this black kid amongst all these white people, and it just made me feel just fucked up. And my mom was working 3 jobs. We lived in a $7 a month place. She was never home, and I was like, but I didn't want to put my troubles on my mom. Before that, my soon-to-be stepdad got murdered. One incident that really shocked my mind was it was Christmas. So picture everything I talked about. This is my 7th grade year. We're about to go out for so Christmas break's about to happen. And so here we are. We had elementary to junior high that rode our bus. And we pull up in front of the junior high school, and the bus lets out, but not yet. This kid who missed the bus, because he had some cookies for the bus driver. He goes over, and I tell a story because this story, it fucked me up so bad. And this kid, mom brought him to school, and I see them pull up. I'm in the back of the bus, and I'm in the very back, right by the back wheel, facing the parking lot. The parking lot is probably 20 feet wide, and 15 buses are lined up, and we all open the bus doors at the same time we all get out. So the kid, I see him, the mom yells over, "You forgot something." He obviously forgot the cookies. He goes back, gets the cookies. I look forward, the bus moves forward maybe this much. Next thing I know, I'm hearing this lady screaming, top of her lungs, pulling like at her hair, this yanking at her hair, this screaming bloody murder. And I'm looking over at the same lady that called her little boy, I'm like, what the hell? And she's looking down under my tire. And so I see these things on my window, and I don't know what they were, but they were like little splots. Oh, God. So you know how the old bus school, the buses have little things you push in, you pull the window down? I push them in, I look down, I'm looking at her, and her face, her eyes are looking right down underneath my tire. And I'm like, what the hell is she looking at? So I look down, and this kid's head was this flat. And his eyes were bugged out of his head. And I tell you that story because a year, almost exactly a year later, the same exact time frame, the day after Christmas, my mom's soon-to-be my soon-to-be stepdad got murdered.
Hey guys, thanks for sticking around. If you'd like more, click the videos right here. They're exactly what you need to see next. And if you're new here, hit subscribe and become a part of the Max Out community. And tell me what you think about the videos in the comments below. I read all of them every week, and I select winners that get all kinds of prizes, gear, coaching calls with me. Make a comment.